It's supposed to feel.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the NS9 Postgame Show. I'm Connor.
I'm Doug. Welcome to the last game of spring.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad regular season is starting. Although, based on the Pirates' spring performance, I'm not sure why. I'm glad the regular season is starting.
Well, I mean, it's spring training doesn't matter. The back half of these games are like filled with high A players and 30-year-old career minor leaguers who have never made major league appearance, So, I mean, if you're going by final results, it doesn't matter. However, there are some things to be concerned about with the actual players that will be on major league rosters' performance.
Right. Well, and while I agree that spring training results don't matter, I would prefer that our results that didn't matter were winning games and guys getting hits. I mean, yes, they don't matter, but the preference is that everybody is hitting for 400, and that's why it doesn't matter. Because no, they're never going to do. But our spring training results look very similar to our regular season results of last year. A lot of strikeouts, a lot of I can't say we had a lot of blown leads because we didn't have that many leads, but not able to hold a lead when we do have one. We'll see. There's still some individual stuff that we can kind of hang our hopes on. Kanan Smith and Jigba, Johanna Oviedo. I feel like a lot
of people are going to be filling out Kanan Smith and Jigba apology forms because I've been on this guy for a while. I mean, if there were times where I figured, all right, this guy is maybe a fourth outfielder because the power hasn't shown. But like coming into this camp, I mean, he showed me that the power is there.
He gets on base and he hit the ball hard. He had the same problem that Hayes did. He hit it in the ground. And it seems like he's overcome that issue this spring. And he's still hitting the ball hard. He's selective, but he's aggressive. He's up there with a plan. He's looking for his pitch to hit. He doesn't chase. He gets on base. You can't overemphasize the importance to this team in particular, where hardly anybody gets on base. So hopefully the Choi, Santana, McCutcheon will help that some, but they're still league average players. We need some of our young guys that we hope that'll be here next year and 3 years down the road can develop that skill. And this guy looks like he's got it. And he looks like he's really good at
it. Do you want to get to some of the positional stuff before we get to Oviedo?
Sure.
Because I feel like Oviedo is what I want to talk about the most. Kutch had a couple hard hit balls today.
Right. Cruz hit the double. And they moved him in. Yeah. And they got him in.
McCutcheon like scorched a couple and just came up empty for it. I mean, it happens.
Right.
Choi RBI single, gotten a rundown. CSN 3-run homer. I just have on my notes here Hedges, dog shit. Have you seen this guy
at the plate, but not behind the plate? Right. We have to remind ourselves he's on the team. Right.
I just
but for Jim Rosati's sake, I'll say Andy Rodriguez should be here.
Yeah. So have we
or maybe Blake Sabal.
Yeah. Have we seen Hedges hit the ball like over 95 miles an hour the entire spring?
He'll get on base once a week, right? But
Jesus.
Right. I'm not going to spend 1 ounce worrying about him at bat because we know he hit 165 last year, but 165. He's not. They better come up with some sort of metric that can explain his value behind the plate, beyond the defensive run saves. I need him counseling and coaching and, whatever, sweeping up the clubhouse.
It appears like he's done that. So
yeah. Yeah,
mean,
that's
that
it.
might just be copium, but
Yeah, right. I'm much more concerned with Castro, Bay, and Sawinski getting hits and getting on, having good bets. With Hedges, I'm just assuming it's an out, and anything we get beyond that is a bonus.
right. Cruz got called for a pitch clock violation. Santana kind of worries me. He's had a not great spring.
Yeah, his at bats
He's-
haven't been terrible.
His
it
at
was one of
bats
the-
haven't been terrible.
But the results have not been good, right? You'd
Yeah.
like to see positive results.
Uh,
But sort of what I'm looking at in the spring is, I'm not as much concerned with your results as your approach, right? I'm
Right.
more concerned with, it's
like
a little like
Castro. Castro is a good example of like the dichotomy between Castro and Santana is a good example of like approach. They have similar results, which are bad,
bad, right?
but their approach is different. Santana's approach is like, all right, his approach is good, but Castro's just been a free swinger.
Just free swinging, right? He doesn't look like he's learned anything, changed anything,
Right.
evolved at all. For me, it was Swagger and Sawinski. Take away all their hits, and who looked better making outs? Swaggerty. Swaggerty was hitting the ball hard. He wasn't striking out. So that's kind of, again, Hayes numbers have been pretty good, but the batting average and all that's not. But he's looked good. He looks good every at bat. Right.
Especially because all he has to do is put up like a league average offensive season,
right.
And he's got like a 5 WAR season.
And then he's one of the better players in the league, right? He's that
right.
His defense is that special, and if he could, if he can hit as well as McCutchen does this year, not McCutchen
right.
in his prime, as well as McCutchen hit last year, then we have a potential all-star. Arenado's not going anywhere, but. And again, if he's just a little above that, if he can be a 2 WAR offensively, then we've got at that contract.
We're talking about. We move into the range of like upper echelon in terms of value third baseman at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And I have some hopes that's going to happen. He really looks good.
Yeah,
and again, I'm not talking about results. I'm talking about approach. He looks really good. And look at his body. He looks different. You hear him talk. He's talked about some of the, launch angle and that sort of stuff. He realizes what he has to do.
It's not as like drastic of a body transformation as like Josh Bell. Right. Because I remember Josh Bell came into camp and it was like, oh my God, is this the same guy?
Right.
But it is. He added like 15 pounds of muscle, I think he said. And if that's true, like there's not an ounce of fat on him.
Yeah. He still looks lean. He looks great. He looks great. So, so hopefully Thursday, it all starts coming together. We'll have the whole lineup in for the, 4 at bats, that sort of thing. Keller on the mound. Keller's looked great all spring. So,
I'm a little concerned defensively. Not with Hayes, obviously. Not with, any of the usual suspects that we can expect good defense from. I don't expect good. I expect good defense from them, but like Connor Joe in the outfield he's looked like an infielder playing the outfield.
We have a lot of that though. So
we've seen a lot of that over the past couple
we're
years.
used to that. So.
And I'm just like, oh,
maybe I haven't noticed.
Because it's the way he plays balls over his head is just kind of bad.
Right. And you assume, I could see him quickly getting, the Sawinski could evolve to a platoon situation real quick, right?
Right.
You could see Connor Joe Sawinski splitting those at bats. If nothing else, just trying to make Sawinski's putting him in situations where he can succeed.
Right. Just to get something going.
Right. And then of course he's, in center field, he's got to look out for Bay too. So you're right though. The center field defense doesn't look great. Right field defense doesn't look great. Second base
Because
hasn't
I
looked
wonder if
great.
it's just a situation where it's like the defense is like is so bad that we got to get Kutch out there. And
Right.
I'm not particularly worried about that right now, but I could see it getting to the point where it's like, all right, we have to get McCutcheon out there for more games, because
Right.
there could be a situation where like Swaggerty doesn't succeed at AAA, and it's like, all
Sure.
right, well, Mitchell isn't great defensely, so we can't
He's not
call
going to
him
solve
up.
the problem. Right. I
Right.
am
So
Gorski
we have to
maybe.
get Kutch out there.
Right. Yeah. I'm to me, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. If you have Kutch playing a lot of defense, he's going to wear down. And then
Right.
that might hurt him at the plate as well. So now the defense isn't great, and you've lessened what you're getting offensively. So
Right.
I mean, Jack Sawinski was a good outfielder last year.
His defense
the
was
Florida sky and all that. So I think we might be okay there, but I am concerned that some pop flies are going to find grass, and line drives here and there are going to be misplayed, things over their heads. It's a concern because we are not a great hitting team.
right.
Large
So
steps forward from Cruz and Hayes, and we're still not a great hitting team. We
Right.
still easily 5 through 9 could be 200 hitters again.
Right.
Maybe it's some 200 hitters that get on base a little more, but it and I understand that batting average isn't the best metric, but a hit has never been a bad thing in the game of baseball. So, and we don't seem to get a lot of them from 5 through 9 and haven't for a couple of years. And our pitching is better, but
I
I
think
can see them
that's going to
losing a
be
lot of
like
3-2 games, right?
the rotation to start the year is going to be rough. I think it's going to be rough. I think it's Keller, Rowanzi, Hill, and then
Yeah. Oviedo. I mean, today we're going to discuss him more, but he didn't have a lot of. I don't think he had any walks today, but he gave up 6 hits. So.
But his control wasn't great, so it didn't reflect in like the final stat line in terms of walks. But his control was not great.
No, I mean 6 hits. Right. I'd rather see somebody get walked than get a hit. Right. I mean, a hit can move a runner 2 bases, whereas the walk will.
I think it's better with Brubaker in there. I feel worse about the rotation, like not knowing how long Brubaker is going to be out. If that's
right.
like going to be
if
like
it's 2 or 3 starts,
especially
fine,
with like
right,
a forearm elbow discomfort, soreness, that can quickly turn into like 1 month, can turn into a month and a half, can turn into 2 months, and that can turn into half a season. So, I mean, especially because he looked really sharp out of it.
You're not excited about Vince Velasquez?
I mean, he looked really sharp this spring. No, I'm not.
He only had one bad start, right? Yeah. He only had the one bad start, so.
And he faced B squads for all of his other starts.
Right, yeah.
He faced a B squad in his bad starts.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not enthused. I'm not one of those. It's like, we did well with Quintana, and we did well. Well, I mean, so we also signed Trevor Cahill. We don't.
I literally don't know who's going to be in the bullpen.
Oh, and it looks terrible. I mean, the guys that have supposedly, Holderman has not looked great. I mean, you look at him and say, "Oh, he's got great stuff. He can do this." And Will Crowe has been terrible. Moretta is
awful.
Moretta looked great, but Jose Hernandez
Garcia is mid, and he's hurt. He's hurt, so it doesn't matter. Yarlin Garcia looked like he was going to be one of the better arms, and he wasn't even that good.
And he didn't look good. Right, he didn't look good. Chase DeYoung.
Chase DeYoung is in for such a huge regression.
We're back in.
It's so obvious.
Dwayne Underwood Jr.
I swear to God, if I see more, like if I see the exact same number of like Dwayne Underwood Jr. multi-inning relief appearances, I'm gonna lose it.
Anytime he comes out for a 4th out, right, I'm gonna lose my mind. Last year, several times he'd get the first 3 outs, and he'd put 2 guys on base. It was not easy innings. Remember he had that streak of at least letting 1 runner on in every inning. I mean, it seemed that it went till August, before he actually had a 1, 2, 3 inning.
I forgot about that.
Right?
Yeah, I do remember.
And then here he comes again, right out there for that next inning, and then it's 5 runs
because we didn't have anybody else.
No, we had nobody. Right.
And that's what I'm worried
gets us
about with this
to
pen this
roster
year.
construction, right? Well, and not that Selby looked great, but Majinski, Kyle Nicholas. If Underwood Jr. and DeYoung and Stevenson when he comes back and these guys, if they're not getting it done, go get one of these young guys. Let's see what they can do. At least we know they got
who
stuff.
got optioned today, and he looked good last year at times. He looked
right.
He was
He
practically like a back end bullpen piece for us last year.
Like I don't think he ever looked as good as everyone was saying to me that he looked good, but he still looked better than most of the guys we had in the bullpen. Right. So, again, spring training results don't matter. And we get to stop saying that soon. And now we can move on to it's a small sample size. It's only a small sample size, but last year there were no other options other than kept picking, these waiver claims. This year, Majinski, Nicholas, and Selby are down there. Again, Oviedo, perhaps, or Luis Ortiz, perhaps, depending on how the rotation looks, how injuries go, and how they perform. But it is time, to stop fooling around and just running guys out for multiple innings.
All right.
Multiple bad innings, by the way.
Covers it. I think that covers it for the positional guys. You want to talk about Oviedo now?
Yeah. He's an interesting topic.
He looks really good at times. He has like 3 average to plus pitches, and they mix well. He has especially the 2 breaking pitches, the curve and the slider. They're really tight pitches, and he can. Except the problem is he can't locate. At times he loses the feel of location.
Right. And again,
even the fastball, he loses control.
Right. The difference between being a good pitcher, good hitter, and average is consistency. If he can do it from inning to inning, game to game, he looks like he could be really good. Hopefully, Oscar, Rich Hill, Austin Hedges, everybody will get with him, and because we're going to need him this year, right?
He has to get out in front. Yeah, right, I was about to mention that he loses control and finds himself working from behind. Very often. Not very often, but too often, like multiple times a game. He's like, he
can't be 2-0 on everybody. He's got to get that first strike. I imagine that. It's important.
But there were
for every
some
pitcher.
Just nasty, devastating pitches that he threw today. He had 7 Ks through 5 innings, I believe it was.
Yeah.
His velocity goes up throughout the game. He started off throwing sitting at 95, 96, 97, and by the end of the game he was touching 98, which is what we've seen previously from him. Is that his velocity almost like Verlander? I hate to bring that up because people will say that I'm comparing Oviedo to Verlander, but it is like that kind of workhorse pitcher that like his velocity weirdly goes up as the game goes on. Like he has a lot of durability. Yeah. He can go deep into games.
He gets warm.
It's just
he's
a matter
big,
of getting
strong-looking kid. Yeah. Exactly. And it would be great that when Brubaker comes back, that Oviedo is pitching so well that there is no consideration for taking him out of the rotation. And then we're going to look at
hopefully it'll be Velasquez. Yeah.
But yeah, it's right. It's going to be tough.
I think there was.
They start out pitching in Cincinnati, and I guess Oviedo will probably going to Boston. Not a pitcher-friendly park.
Right.
He's going to have to keep the ball down. He's going to have to get some strikeouts. I know we like to talk about the Red Sox are not that good. They're not that good in the American League East.
Right.
They'd be second place in the National League Central. So,
well, maybe third.
Maybe third. Yeah, but nobody would pick them to finish after us or Cincinnati or the Cubs.
Right.
So, right. So, right. It'd be nice to get off to a good start. It'd be nice to see some of these guys, but they're going into difficult pitching environments and their first time through the rotation. You don't expect that to bother Rich Hill. And I went to a game last year where Keller pitched against Cincinnati, and I think he got the win. It was in May. We hit 3 home runs in the first inning Diego Castillo, Yoshi, and Brian Reynolds all hit home runs.
Oh my God, you were at one of the. That was the one of Yoshi's 2 home runs that didn't come off Yadier
Cole
Molina.
Tucker had 2 hits in the game, and we won 8-5. Right, and I mean we jump out to this great lead, and Keller just this is before Keller had found his sinker or whatever, and it was not a great start. So I'm hoping this year. And have we got a hit yet against Hunter Green? Are we still searching for our first hit against the opening day pitcher?
I'm not gonna. Mike says last 2 appearances
0
for
walks.
Oviedo, 9 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 4 runs, 0 walks, 14 Ks. I'm gonna have to take that with a grain of salt because it comes from Bucko Mike, and I'm not gonna fact check it.
I'm gonna accept it blindly.
Because Bucko Mike, we love you.
I don't recall any walks, and I do remember a lot of 10 hits in 9 innings. I mean, whew.
It's that he's. I think the at bat against Max Kepler in the first inning is a really good example of like why Oviedo is so intriguing, but also why there's a little bit of concern. There's a little bit of like there's room for improvement. I think I would say he got down 3-0 to Max Kepler, came back with a sharp breaking pitch, and then left a pitch in the zone. And Max Kepler hit it hard, but it was an out. But it was hard contact. But it's just that breaking pitch was just so sharp, and Max Kepler just didn't have a chance. A major league hitter didn't have a chance against
a really
Oviedo's
good major league player. Right, exactly. I mean, again, he looks like he could be really good.
Or I think it was Gordon who he threw the back-to-back curveballs from, and it was just devastating. I mean, the thing just fell off the table.
Right. And you'd think, it's going to be interesting to see. He to me is one of the X factors for this team.
Right.
He has special talent, and he just needs to harness it and do it consistently. I mean, he's one of the guys that's the difference between, sort of 71 wins or, that sort of, or 68 wins and getting us up, 75, 76, that sort of thing. If we know that every 5 days we can count on a pretty solid outing, and we're going to get 5 innings. And I can't believe I'm saying 5 innings, but that's what a good solid outing is these days. He can get us through 5, only giving up a run. The season could turn out nicely, because I have a lot of confidence in Rowanzi, Keller, and I think Rich Hill's going to be really good too.
Well, the concern with Rowanzi is like, can he get the innings?
Right?
Is he ever going to get the innings? Because I mean, I feel like he's going to max out at like 160.
Right.
I mean,
and his velocity.
Is he ever going to?
Right. His velocity's been down.
Yeah. All right. I think that covers just about everything.
Yeah, we hit the high points. Again, Kane and Smith and Jigba look good. I like the way they scored the first run, because it just emphasizes good things happen if you don't strike out. Cruz hits the double.
Which was 110.7, by the way.
Exactly, right. Yeah, he rockets the double. Reynolds moves him over.
I will never get tired of like Cruz hitting a bullet and then like the broadcast bringing up how hard that ball was hit.
Right.
As if you need a number to like. I will never get tired of watching him make this game.
I could have watched that one in 1982 and thought, wow, he hit that hard. I didn't need exit velocity I didn't need advanced data. He smoked that.
100. I think he hit a ground ball the other day that was like 115, and it was just like, and that it's insane that like he can go 7 miles an hour more than that off the bat.
Mike just said in the comments that he'd rather see the hits over the walks for Oviedo, and I get that to a point, but that's if the hits are all singles. And even a single can move a guy over 2 bases. I mean, you want control. You obviously want control, but giving up 10 hits to me isn't really having great control, even though he didn't give up any walks. It's like, hey, you're throwing some nice fat pitches. They don't have to work the count.
It's that he was getting behind in the count, and then he had to go back into the heart of the zone to make sure he didn't get a walk, and that's when the hard contact was mostly coming from.
Right. Right. So exactly. So
It wasn't
the
coming
walk
from
could
like
be a better option.
it wasn't coming from like, oh, all right, he made a good pitch, but like they beat you, it's whatever. It was coming
Right.
from like he was getting behind in the counts and he had to find the zone and he just had to like get into the heart of the zone. All right. So I think that covers just about everything. Oh, actually, I wanted to talk about McCutcheon some more. He gets this is like kind of anecdotally, but I've never seen a player get standing ovations consistently in spring training. I've never seen it.
Right. And we've seen guys come back, and we've seen young guys come up that people are excited about. This team's fans love that guy. I mean, they just love him.
He spent 2 innings signing autographs.
I hope it maintains, though, because he always starts out slow. I mean,
does, yeah.
He's another. He was like
I mean, even in Milwaukee last year,
like Reynolds last year, right? He's hitting 200 on June 1st, and then he always crushes it in June, much like Reynolds.
300. He hit like 300. His slash line was like 300, 360, 500 in June last year.
Right. Yeah, June. Yeah, if we're gonna play him in the outfield, let it be June. So,
yeah.
But I know. I just hope it does, because my only expectation from him are to be a guy that gets on base a little better than what we had last year. League average. Just do what you did last year. 15, 16 home runs, I'm fine with. I just hope the fans don't turn on him when he's hitting 200 on May 7th, and long drive for an out, in the 9th inning or something, because I don't think they will. It seems like he can do no wrong, and I hope it stays that way.
I would give Reynolds a standing ovation if he hits over. Thanks, Bucko Mike.
Well, it'd be nice if he had some runners on to give him a little more opportunity there.
Yeah.
Small sample size, right? The definition of small sample size. Our hitters coming into plate with runners in scoring position. So,
all right, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
All right. So, what's your prediction for Thursday's regular season? What do you think? The opener. What's going to happen?
I think 5 through 9 is. I think I'm going to be watching with much intrigue the Austin Hedges Hunter Green matchup. That's the matchup that I want to see.
I can tell you what's going to happen there. Hedges might not even get the bat off his shoulder, right?
He's going to throw,
but he's going to call a good game.
He's going to throw 3 fastballs at 100 down the pipe, and Austin Hedges is just going to be baffled. He's not going to know what happened to him.
Bat on the shoulder.
The umpire's going to have to tell him that he struck out.
Yeah. You missed that, buddy. Yeah, right. There was 3 of those, right? Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you for watching. Pirates lose 7-5, but it doesn't matter. Bye-bye.
Right. We won the part that mattered. We're right. It's like preseason football. If we win the first quarter, that's what really counts. So we were leading 5-3 going into the 8th. So I call that a win. There was a bunch of guys. I have no idea who they were playing after that. So.
Yep. You got anything else to say?
No, sir. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.